Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Hendrickson. I'm a parent educator with Eden Prairie Schools, and along with my colleague Kathy Matthews, provide support to parents of preschoolers at Little Eagles Preschool. So we are going to be each week sharing a little bit of an email newsletter with some tips and ideas of things you can do with kids at home to support you during this kind of stressful and unknown time during the COVID virus. So the first thing that I want to share with you, and it's more of a highlight of a resource that has been already sent out to you, but you may or may not have had a chance to look at it, is called the Guided Learning Plan from Teaching Strategies Gold. These plans were actually developed by Teaching Strategies Gold, which is the tool that we use, or our assessment tool, our preschool assessment tool is from Teaching Strategies Gold. Very reputable assessment tool, and the information is really solid. They developed this guided learning plan for this time, actually, to help families continue the kinds of learning and developmental experiences that kids had been enjoying at school. The reason I wanted to highlight this tool in this first video that I'm sending you is because if you maybe looked at it when it first came out, when our resources document first came out, it may look a little bit intimidating, I would say, because the language that is used throughout the document, throughout the plans, isn't real home friendly. It is definitely, however, what you're doing at home is very much similar to what is being proposed in this learning plan. It's just that the vocabulary is a little bit different. So the things that you're already doing that you're going to hear and learn about in the plan are things like creating and sharing a plan for the day. I'm sure many of you have daily routines. And if you don't have a daily routine, you might have a morning routine or an evening routine, bedtime routine. Reading stories is another thing you're going to hear a lot about. And then talking about everyday things like getting dressed and what you're eating, and using those everyday things to turn those everyday things into a learning experience that will actually be really supportive of their school readiness. So it's definitely school language is highlighted, which is great because your kids, especially kids who have been in our preschool, are going to find that language familiar. And if not, if they're maybe coming to preschool for the first time in the fall, it will be familiar to them when they get there if you use it at home this summer. So let's take a look. Each plan, each week, and each day of each week starts with a morning meeting. And right off the bat, that might feel like, oh my gosh, a morning meeting. It sounds very serious and very work-like, but it's really not. And again, I think probably a lot of you are already doing this type of thing. It's just about reviewing your plan for the day, right? And giving each person in your family or each child or your child a chance to say, what's one thing you want to do today? So what you're practicing is social interaction, good communication skills, and making a plan for the day, which can make your day actually a little easier. And for some kids, knowing what they're going to do that day, knowing what's going to come next, really helps them. It increases their compliance, and it helps them feel more secure. Also, as part of the morning meeting, there is always for each day a let's move activity. And the example that I'm showing you here is called Busy Bees, where the academic skills that you're supporting are comparing and measuring, which are math skills. So you tell the children the room they're in is a beehive and invite them to buzz around like a bee and flap their wings. And then it gives you a little chant to say, and then so it goes like this: buzzy bees, buzzy bee, buzz around and touch something taller than you. So they have to look around and find something taller. Repeat the phrase using other phrases or words to help them learn the difference in sizes, so shorter or wider or smaller. Very, very cool and fun activity to support math skills. They also each time have a study exploration. Again, it might sound really serious, but you're probably already doing this, and they have great ideas. So don't be afraid to take a look at some of these. So for instance, the example that I'm showing you here in this video is a study exploration on clothing. And really a study exploration is a fancy way to say, let's learn about something. So one of the weeks, the topic is clothing. And in this instance, there's an activity of ask everyone in your family to name all the articles of clothing that they are wearing. And then on a sheet of paper, write down each kind of clothing: t-shirts, pants, socks, underwear. And so you can see, though, where this is going in terms of academic skills. It's about writing and recording. And there's so much that they can learn through these sort of everyday activities. Here's a pro tip. Anytime you're talking about clothing, that involves laundry. And so this might be a great way to trick your kids into helping them do the laundry. So take a look at each of these study explorations that are in the plan. They also have a guided learning aspect of each day, and they're really clever. They're very creative. Even if you don't do all of them, or if your child isn't interested in a particular one, take a look at them and find one that you think your child would be interested in. The other thing to keep in mind is kids at this age, 3, 4, 5, you really shouldn't be expecting more than about 10, maybe 15 minutes of kind of sitting down, focused time with them. So don't overestimate how much time they should be focusing in on something like this. So here's an example of guided learning. The question is, what was for breakfast? And you're going to invite them to sit at the table and either draw a picture or write about what they ate for breakfast. Ask them to explain what they drew. And then you can also offer, and this is really cute because you're going to hear some really, really fun things. Ask them to tell you what they want you to write down if they are not able to write words yet. When they're learning to write, the other tip that we would give to parents of really young children is just go with whatever marks they're making on the paper. You don't want to start making corrections or telling them, no, this isn't the way to do it. Just let them bravely write in the way that they want to. They have a making the most of routines. That routines is something that we talk about all the time, both at school with the children and definitely to parents of young children. It's just one of those hallmarks, one of those foundational pieces of raising young kids and teaching young kids that is really helpful. So having a routine, especially so in the classroom, we have routines. They come in, they wash their hands or hang up their backpack. And by the second week of school, maybe even at the end of the first week, your kids really know what they're supposed to do. And you can just see the pride in their faces when they're doing these things on their own independently. So that's one of the things why we do routines is it does support independence. But again, it also supports a sense of security and it increases cooperation. So the example here is of a routine of the cleaning up routine, and it is a classic. We sing cleanup songs in all of our rooms, all of our classes, and maybe you're already doing a cleanup song at your house. There's an example here that goes to the tune of Here We Go Round the Mulberry Bush, and I'm not going to sing it, but I just want you to know that you can make up your own cleanup song or use one from school that your child maybe already knows. But it's a great way to use routines and sort of a transition activity to get some compliance. And it's a very good school readiness skill. There's example of the COVID-19 daily schedule is actually also in our Google Doc. You can take a look if you want to use it or just make your own. There's also links to printable daily schedules if you want to go that far at home. The next aspect of each of the kind of school at home is what I like to call this, but the guided learning plan is reflecting on the day. Once again, I know many of you, many parents at home in the evening with kids are doing this. It's just a really important and nice way to end the day. So talk about what did you enjoy about your day? What would you like to do more of tomorrow? Any new vocabulary when they were describing clothes? It's just a way to really come full circle in your day that is very much like what we do at preschool. So there's always a circle time at the end where the teacher they're gonna talk about what they did that day. They're maybe gonna sing a goodbye song and then go into their routine for the end of the day. So think about that. If you don't already do that, you could add that to your day at home. In almost every page of the guided learning plan is this little piece called "Something to Consider," and it's just that, something else to consider, a little added tidbit, and so I think they're really worth your while to take a look at. And this one is a classic. Children may ask you to read the same book over and over again, and I know how frustrating sometimes that can be. You feel so bored with the book. You try to skip pages. You try to skip words. They know when you're doing that. But what it is really just a really good sign. It's a great sign, actually, that they enjoy reading with you. So consider that when you're reading to your kids. One last thing we have, I and Kathy Matthews, my colleague who also supports preschool parents, want you to know that you can reach out to us anytime all summer. Our email is the best way to do that. And those are here on the screen and then also in the email where you found this video. There's a URL code there that you can scan that also comes from the Teaching Strategies Gold Guided Learning Plan. So take a look at that. There's a couple other ways that you can access more information about teaching strategies, Facebook and Twitter. And also just remember that reaching out to us for whatever you need is absolutely something that we want you to know is okay. We're going to be here for you this summer for whatever needs you have. In the meantime, take a look at the Teaching Strategies Gold Guided Learning Plan, and I hope that this was helpful to you. Thank you.